everyone, and welcome back to Director Watch, an AwardsWatch podcast that attempts to get inside the mind of cinema's greatest auteurs, explore, try some, and maybe we go on a few unrelated tangents along the way. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor here at AwardsWatch, and joining me as always is the man on the run, my co-host, Jay Ledbetter.
Hello, hello. Let's start a new series, isn't it? How about the most British filmmakers of all time? Powell and Pressburger. We're doing it, Ryan. I am so excited. I love these gentlemen. Powell and Pressburger.
Yes.
49th parallel. We're doing it.
I'm super excited, man. This is, it honestly, it feels like coming home in a weird way.
It does. Feels like coming home.
Coming home. And then, because like we said last week, we've talked about Powell and Pressburger before on a series on the old show, but I think we're to better put it, we're more cultured on them. We've seen these films more. They mean more to us now. This filmography,
Also,
these gentlemen,
they've lingered, man. They've stuck.
I also kind of think that they've been a little bit more appreciated in the culture sense. With the sight and
feel
sound
like that almost
list
happens
and-
every year. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, Powell and Pressburger,
yeah.
two of the greats.
I feel like there's been, because the Criterion has given them a really big
They
platform.
basically canonized all of their big films now.
Anytime Martin Scorsese literally has a new film, he's saying you gotta watch Powell and Pressburger. They had the documentary that came out a couple of years, like last year, or the year before. So they're always fresh of mind. And yet we're going to talk about like 8 films. We're going to talk about the big ones. We're going to sneak in a couple, and then we're going to do a bonus episode of a real
The
controversial
movie that killed Michael Powell's career,
exactly, but
is now in
revered.
the Criterion Collection. Yeah.
Exactly. But how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. I mean, truly so excited. These are the Powell and Pressburger run. I know they worked together for longer, but what is partly so interesting about them is it's like 10 years and then basically nothing. It is some of the most it's basically Chantal Ackerman's career. It's this very concentrated period of critical, just adulation, elite output, and then most of the other stuff has sort of been discarded. That's super interesting, but in the run that we're going to talk about specifically, you're talking about like 4 or 5 of my 150 favorite films ever made. They rock.
I mean, we're going to talk about some of my favorite movies ever as well. We're going to talk about movies that you and I have both been able to now see in a theater and have great experiences with, right? You've seen 1 or 2 of them in a theater, right? Like, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, have I seen any of these in a theater?
I know I have.
I've got a great story for A Matter of Life and Death, which I was supposed to see in a theater and wasn't able to.
We'll talk about that.
Don't think I've seen any of these in a theater.
I've seen A Matter of Life and Death. I'll talk about my my experience then, and I've seen The Red Shoes in theaters now. So they're special films.
La dee da.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rub it in. I mean,
la dee da.
Jay and I were talking before we got on about the fact that we were in a text thread with Sophia, and she had gone to see a film again that she didn't really like, and Jay was kind of blown his mind at the fact that you can go see a movie multiple times at a theater within like a multiple couple of weeks, but all the life of a parent.
I saw One Battle 2 times in 2 nights, and that was like
a compromise.
He did it. Jay Ledbetter, after all these years, has finally reached the top of the mountaintop. He saw a movie 2 nights in a row, one battle after another.
Yes. And also, too, the fact that when I came to town, I had to basically champion the idea of you getting to do this 2 nights in a row.
That's true. You were the minister of culture, being like,
all right, okay, he's got to see this movie twice. Yeah.
The nation.
Yeah, for all of us in general, really. Did you go by yourself? It was the press screening, and then you went with everybody you knew, right?
Yeah, the press screening was me with my critic friends, and then my public screening on 70 was with my brother and his girlfriend.
Oh, when did you take your wife to see it?
She saw it at home.
Oh, okay. Did she like it?
Loved it.
Yeah. Is that her favorite movie of the year?
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly. Okay. I think it might be my wife's favorite movie of the year. It's either that or
It's a lot of people's favorite movie of the
it's
year.
either that or you want to know something, and you can't get mad at her because she's my wife. She's a big Frankenstein person.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, buddy.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody. Yeah. Hey, you know what? She like he made it for somebody, and he made it for my wife. We like Del Toro's a nice guy.
He seems fantastic.
He's a
I
great
recommended One
champion of
Battle
cinema.
to some normies recently.
Yeah.
Um, we watched One Battle after another. Started a little political, but ended up being pretty good. What are some others I should watch? So there you go. That's a
There's
rave.
there's only a couple. There's only one or two people that I know that didn't care for it all the way through. It was my in-laws.
Mm.
They were like,
Which
but
halftime show did they watch?
they watched Bad Bunny,
Okay, all right.
because they're Latino. But they also said that they want to watch it again because they didn't fully like understand it
I
because
don't.
it went real quick
there's
for them.
Stuff. There's been good criticism about stuff that people didn't particularly love about that movie. There's also been some really bad faith.
You mean like some
horrible
really like
criticism about
bad
it.
Substack bullshit
Yeah,
takes
I
out
mean
there?
it's been rough out there, but
Yeah.
it's a great film. You know what
It's a
else is a
great
great film?
49th Parallel, which we're here
Yeah,
to talk about today.
so glad you got to see this.
I'm so glad I got
I'm
to
so
see
glad you
this too.
put it on the schedule. I wasn't sure that you would, but it's an important movie.
Why did
in
you
your
think I
career,
would
for
put this
sure.
on the
I don't
schedule?
know. I don't know.
Why do you think so little of me sometimes?
It's a good question, and honestly, I should be more forgiving. I should believe in you more. Is really what I should do.
You should believe in me and you should just kind of listen to me every now and then. It's not a bad idea either.
Well,
If we've been doing this long enough, you still don't listen.
well, it's sort of our dynamic. If I start listening now,
That's true. Then
the
then
show
people
is
are
going
going to
to
be like,
completely
"Oh,
flip on its
great,
head. Yeah.
Jay listens. Great."
Liked it better when he completely ignored you 3 times an episode.
That's kind of my favorite thing at this point now. No, I'm really excited about it. Jay, a couple years ago, when we decided to talk about Powell and Pressburger,
Mhm.
and we decided to tackle some of their films and really get immersed with these guys,
And that was pure discovery for the
it was
most part.
pure discovery.
Yeah.
What was sort of the driving force about picking that? Because in all seriousness, folks, this was a old fashioned classic Jay Ledbetter. Let's do this. And it was really Jay's championing of it. And I was fully on board with it. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And it was such an enriching experience for yourself, Jay. I'm curious what made you want to do that as an option for a series. And because we all know the minute I suggested that we do this again, Jay was completely on board with it. But what was the inception of the idea for the first time we did it?
It really is nothing more than looking at a catalog and being like, oh, that looks like something I'd be interested in.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like looking at a Sears catalog and just thinking to
Do they still have
myself,
Sears catalogs, by the way?
I mean, you're looking at a annual subscriber. Um, but I don't have anything to really say about why I picked them other than their movies sounded really interesting to me and I wanted to watch them. And so we did, and it literally changed our lives.
It really did. And honestly, I'm going to say it. It was the Powell and Pressburger series and the Robert Altman series was like, this is when I really started loving doing the whole movie series idea with you
Yeah.
and breaking down these directors' filmographies and history and diving into really the perspective of
Enriching.
these auteurs. Yeah. And so wouldn't have the show without it.
Yeah.
And also, I think the great thing about seeing movies like when we've done this year, when we saw, Chantal Ackerman and For Yourself Like Beatty, is seeing some of those films, we're getting for a lot of them, like our first time reactions. And we never get a chance to go back and do this with
We definitely
a
have,
newer perspective. We've done
but
some, but
2026, this is kind of the first one.
this is the first one where
Sometimes it's nice to rewatch every Nancy Meyers film. You
well,
know?
I mean, like we hadn't talked about those films. Like we hadn't like done
Well, sure.
episode by
Well, this
episode.
is
I'm
the
talking
first
about
time
like a
we've done-
series.
This is the first time we've done this.
Yeah, and this is I
So
think
Redux.
this is yes, it is. It's a remix in a lot of ways, and we're gonna do it with because in that series we did kind of the big ones out of Criterion. We did a Canterbury Tale, and spoiler alert, folks, we're not gonna do that film.
I'm going to rewatch that one now.
I am going to rewatch it, and that is the thing is I'd like to kind of rewatch and find the gems inside here because I know you did the completest exercise.
I
at the
did a
time,
lot.
if I'm
I've
not
seen like
mistaken.
15 Powell and Pressburger movies.
Did you watch any of the two that they made before this one?
Yeah, I've seen both of their collabs before this.
Yeah, because they've had like
Which were Contraband and A Spy in Black.
yes,
And
those
I also watched Thief of Baghdad, which one of the most convoluted production processes ever. Michael Powell is one of the 3 credited directors on that movie. It's actually quite good.
yeah.
That is in the, I think it's in the, it's, if it's not in the Criterion collection, it is in the Criterion collection. I think.
Yes, it is.
And it's, have you seen that one?
Not in a long time.
It's really interesting.
Yeah,
And especially for someone who grew up on Aladdin, you're kind of like, whoa, the weird differences between this and Aladdin are fascinating. And also, Aladdin is very much inspired by this movie. The design of that movie is insane. It's so impressive.
well, that's the thing about these movies is that we're going to be talking about is the attention to detail.
Yeah,
is immensely. I mean, I'm not.
That's the Powell.
Can I say within the first 10 minutes of watching this movie, there's a montage sequence about sort of like the governments, I think it's Canadian or the United States government getting like news, and there's these just overhead shots of these like various rooms where inside the war room, I guess, or the central command, and I was like, that is simplistic, incredible production design just from the gates. And I'm like, okay, I'm back in the hands of guys that I'm like fully know can still wow me in a movie that I had never seen before. And that's just the kind of things here is that, listeners out there, if you hear the word map paintings throughout this series, take a shot because we're probably going to say it a lot because it's some of the most gorgeous stuff
gotta
ever.
Watch Thief of Baghdad. That's like matte painting model city. It's so
I really
cool.
got to rewatch it. I was just trying to fit it in. Life right now. Life, man. Life.
Jafar, played by Whiteman.
yeah.
Got a little bit of that problematic brown skin going on, but if you sort of put yourself in the time.
Is it Alec Guinness level bad?
No. Nothing is Alec Guinness level bad, except for Short Circuit 2.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff.
Yeah, that's really bad. I think Alec Guinness might be the worst I've ever seen.
It is.
Passage to India.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, but it's when we did the David Lean series and we watched that film, it was like
David Lean,
wow.
love him.
Yeah, I mean, but even when you watch Laurence Olivier, you're like, wow, Alec Guinness, you really went there. And then he's just like, hold my beer when you do Passage to India. It's a trip.
It is interesting. Lawrence of Arabia is so good that I am sort of like,
Have to just take all
you take the good with the bad.
You take the good. Well,
then with
this is what
Passage India,
this is how they made movies back then.
This is so boring that I can't help but dwell on the fact that
I think that movie is kind of boring until like the last 20 minutes where I find when it gets to the courtroom stuff, it's actually kind of interesting. But 49th Parallel, rewatched it, right?
Mm-hmm.
For this. So we can be, well, first, those first 2 films, which I have still not seen, but I will catch up by next week. Jay, those first 2 films that you mentioned, and I know you're reading a book on the Archers right now.
I'm reading Michael Powell's autobiography. And so, I mean, I guess we should sort of lay out their partnership.
Yeah. I mean, the Archers, themselves, Powell and
The
Pressburger.
Archers, who very wisely marketed themselves and created a production company with both of them and stamped themselves to be the Archers.
So how did they come to be, Jay? Like, how did they meet?
So this it is so interesting talking about movies at this time because if you're talking about directors of today, it's like, oh, I sat in a movie theater and I saw a Godard film and I was like, I have to do this. Michael Powell was born in 1905. It was kind of like this was a job and I liked storytelling. And so I was a gopher in the film industry and eventually he was they called it the quota quickie system in England. It was essentially our government is going to mandate a certain amount of movies. So that means we are going to churn out cheap films on a short timeline. And after kind of learning the ropes, sweeping the floors and taking still photography on sets and all that stuff, they said, Michael Powell, you get to make a cheapo film funded by the British government. And then lo and behold, he ended up being pretty good at that. He
Yeah.
was good at staying on time and on budget. And he kind of rose up the ranks and he met Emeric Pressburger, who was born in what is now Hungary. He became a journalist in Germany. He was of Jewish descent. Something in the 30s happened called the rise of Nazism, which made that not the ideal place for him to live.
Probably not for anyone, honestly.
Yeah. And so for him in particular, and he settled in Britain. He fled Germany, moved to Britain. They met, made their first film together, The Spy in Black, which I think is a really good movie. I really like that movie. It is a movie that very much like 49th Parallel, the central figures of the film are Nazis. And it feels like a bold choice now. I'm sure it was an incredibly bold choice of the time. At the time, it's got really interesting gender dynamics. The plot is like really twisty turny, genuinely surprising. A really great start to their partnership together. Their next film was called Contraband. I don't think it is nearly um, as successful as The Spy in Black. Not terrible by any means, but just doesn't really have the verve or panache of the one before. And the thing to note about these films is they were partially funded by the British government. And certainly in Thief of Baghdad, the production of Thief of Baghdad is nuts. It was originally directed by one guy. They didn't like that one guy. They said, Michael Powell, you come in and do this. The original guy didn't have the sense of scale that they wanted. Michael Powell comes in. He's got the biggest sense of scale imaginable. Even if he's working on a small budget, he'll make something feel enormous. And then World War II starts, and they're like, hey, Michael, we need you back to make some propaganda for us. And so they bring in another guy, and then Michael Powell eventually circles back later. It's very complicated, but really, the England comes to Michael Powell and says, "Hey, we need you to make a propaganda movie." And Michael Powell says, "I can do you one better. I'm gonna convince America to enter the war." This was made pre Pearl Harbor. And was very explicitly about America's neutrality in the war. The whole plot of the movie is about a Nazi wanting to enter America so that he can get extradited back to Germany.
Mhm.
It was released in America after Pearl Harbor, so it did not do what he intended. But I
No.
guess what he intended to happen had already occurred, so I guess it's a win.
Hmm.
But it is a kind of a fascinating origin story for the film. But Powell and Pressburger obviously became one of the most famous cinematic pairs in history, and they worked together until the 70s after
Definitely.
taking a long break. I mean, it really is, it's 1939 to 19, I guess the mid 1950s when they were considered a big deal.
Mhm.
And then it was sort of like, how do we maintain this momentum? And they kind of didn't. But it's really a 10-year period of accepted excellence,
Yeah.
which is really interesting because they lived a lot longer than 10 years and their careers lasted a lot longer than 10 years.
Yes, they did. But their imprint on cinema, as we'll talk around this series with ourselves and with our guests that we have lined up over the course of the series, um, is
Their 40s is
immeasurable.
arguably the greatest decade of any filmmakers in history.
They have a run. They have a run where you can argue they have a 4 film run in their filmography.
Well, it's not even consecutive, but they have four or
No, they
five
have no,
films
no,
in a
they have a four
decade.
film run. They do, where you can
I
make the
know,
argument.
yeah, I guess I see the four film
You
run,
see the four.
but
And
that also ignores what some people would say is their best movie, which
my
came a couple years before this.
exactly,
But
or
the
a couple years
decade
before.
is absurd.
Yeah, it's an absurd.
That four film run is out of control, though. That is like you're kind of like, did Francis Ford Coppola beat that or not?
or did they, or did he never top it? That's the question. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? No, no, I totally. And we're going to talk about all 4 of those films in that run over the next couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, Jay, it's a massively interesting, complex film that we're about to talk about here today. And yes, it is. It's very interesting to kind of have a film like this. I was thinking a lot about when we were watching this film, about some other stuff that we've talked about before. I won't spoil yet where I'm thinking about with that. But Jay, yourself, you've seen this film before. This was a rewatch.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on 49th Parallel?
Yeah, 49th Parallel, a film that I watched during our previous kind of watch through. And I remember when I watched it the first time, I was kind of like, "Oh wow, this isn't kind of considered one of their masterpieces, but I quite like this. This is a little bit of a hidden gem." Um, Watched it again this time. I was like, "No, this is almost up there with some of their best stuff. I think it is so good. It it is fascinating to consider that several of the films that we're going to talk about over the course of this run were planned to be explicitly war propaganda. And this is that, but Powell and Pressburger kind of can't help but sneak in some empathy for the enemy. This is a film where the main characters, in the same way that they were in The Spy in Black, the main characters in this movie are Nazis. And we are asked to root for specifically one Nazi over the course of the film. Of course, that Nazi gone good is murdered by his Nazi buddies. So that is where kind of the propaganda comes in. But it is a film that is simultaneously thrilling, heart wrenching, um, has great verve and momentum to it. It's an incredibly enjoyable watch. It has some great monologues through the course of it. Laurence Olivier gets to just have the time of his life in this thing, as a Canadian, a French Canadian trapper. It is a film that leaves you. I don't know if I'd say if it leaves you on a high, but it leaves you thrilled and enthralled. It is an all-consuming movie, that is sort of this tapestry of various pieces stitched together. But I think that's part of where its power comes from. Um, I love this movie. I really, really love this movie, even more than I did the first time I watched it.
So this is a first time watch for me, and I was actually kind of blown away by it. Its premise, Jay, is I mean, for the 1940, what is this? The 1940s,
1941 in England. I mean, this is like the really dark days of World War II.
and you're making a film where the characters that are thrusting the momentum of the plot, which would normally be protagonists, are
The
despicable,
ostensible protagonists are Nazis.
are Nazis. And
And boy, do they talk like Nazis.
and
Hello, I'm Heil
I
Hitler.
I'm a Nazi. You know what I mean? I feel we're going very Australian, by the way, with these
Yeah, that did
voices, so
sound
we
very
can be a little
Australian.
very careful. But
Pip, pip.
don't do your Dick Van Dyke, please. Do not do that on this show. But no, I think for me, Jay, as I was watching it, I was kind of blown. It's one of those where you're like, I had no idea what this movie was before we started.
That rocks.
And it was a complete, just kind of blind watch, which I think was obviously the right move because there's a shot in this movie when they are the Nazis killed these people walking up in Canada, and like they shoot a child, and you see the dead bodies on the shoreline, essentially. And it kind of, if you're not paying attention while you're watching a movie at home, and I totally was, but my wife was next to me, and she just kind of looked up and saw this image. She's like, "That's what the hell are you watching? Like, this is the I thought this was supposed to be like a cozy British film because when you watch the rest, I'm not that their films are just cozy British films, but they're all talking like about the war and everything like this, and we know what movies like this are supposed to be like, but we also know Powell and Pressburger, they do tend to subvert expectations and talk about deeper things and have something on the mind when we
But
have
more
talked
in
about the film before.
philosophical ways than like aesthetic
Yeah,
ways, I guess. This is pretty gnarly at times.
it is. I mean, it is. I think a fascinating. This is a test study of Jay knows that I have a theme sometimes is that, and I got to pull it back out, Jay, for this series, and we did
Okay,
this
here we
during
go.
Osu, which is that where you put yourself in the mind of somebody seeing this film or experiencing this film in the era in which it came out. Like this is very much one of those where you get to put yourself back in there. And I just thought after I was watching, like, imagine somebody in, this era of time seeing this film and seeing and seeing these the breadth of what the audience is going through here. They're going through something that, to me, I'm still kind of speechless about it. The idea of making Nazis your central protagonist and your through line through it, and having yourselves as filmmakers, having the audience confront this terror that is in their modern day lives right there on the screen and following them as if they are, if it's like the Great Escape. You know what I mean? like as if you're watching these heroes that are trying to escape the peril of war. And it's such a subversion of expectations. We were talking about before we got on here, Jay was talking about, and I were talking about, Scorsese. And Scorsese's his influences and his love for Powell and Pressburger it knows no bounds. He owns a pair of the red shoes, for God's sakes.
They were like really good friends.
They were really good friends. I mean, Thelma Schoonmaker was married to Michael Powell.
Yeah.
And so he got to kind of, by knowing her, get to, listen and lean on one of his heroes.
Man, he was so much older than her.
He was. He
It's
very
crazy.
much was.
They got married when he was real old.
Yes. But I couldn't help, Jay, but
God, he
think
was almost 80 when they got married. That's
of
crazy.
of how, when we talk about Taxi Driver, right? And we talk about sort of how the audience over time has taken that film and what people kind of think that movie is about. And then when you watch it, if you haven't seen it in a long time, the expectation of a movie feels different because you think that oh, this guy is super crazy, but there's far more layers to this movie than what Scorsese's really going for here. And he's not sympath and it toes the line between sympathy and outright dismissal of the actions of Travis Bickle in that movie. And I kind of there's a little bit of that here inside this movie too, of that traditional movie sake. You're moving along with these characters, and yet you're wholly rooting against them, and yet you're so enthralled by it. And it's this idea of like, people nowadays, they always say, Jay, that we want rootable characters. I need somebody to root for in a film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is kind of throwing the idea of like, there might not be, because that's not how the world works. And so I kind of found it at times to be a very thrilling film, very entertaining, very philosophical, damn near like cynical at the majority of it for me.
Well, that is what is crazy about the Powell and Pressburger propaganda films is they do feel they do throw some barbs at the British, military industrial complex.
Yeah, but they're also hopeful of that other countries actually have it figured out better than they do. And also that
we'll talk about Colonel Blimp. I mean, that is one of the craziest movies ever made.
It
in
is.
Context.
And then also, but it in the context of this film as well too, like they're also saying like, this whole war is built on the back of pure bullshit, and that these men think that they can hide who they really are. But then I was thinking again in terms of the context of this film and when it was released, I was thinking a lot about Ozu, and he made a ton of propaganda films during his era in a totally different side of the war. And I think when we talk about Colonel Blimp, we'll have that through line continue there with Ozu in a way, Jay, of how Ozu mirrored and looked and reflected upon a country that changed, and how Powell and Pressburger looked at their own country, who were the heroes of the war, and showcased themselves that their military industrial complex, as you said, or their idea or their values of the war are still fundamentally not squeaky clean. Wouldn't say fully rotten, but definitely not as easy to digest as one would assume to be a good soldier. I found the film to be super fascinating. It moved at such a wild pace as well too. And I think that there's that scene in the cafeteria where they basically out themselves as Nazis, and the silence of the room. It's one of the more tense scenes that I've seen in quite some time, especially given our modern context as well. And then this movie also has a staple actor that we'll talk about throughout, Anton Walbrook, who is just delivering absolute fucking fastballs up the middle throughout this entire movie with monologues and how he is always in Powell and Pressburger films. But Olivier doing a wild French Canadian accent.
He's getting after it, man.
He's getting after it. And Leslie Howard as well, from who we know from like Brief Encounter. He's very, very good. But it's very also funny that all the main actors that we would assume would be leads of this film, and that they would be the three, people on the run or whatever the case may be, they are the side characters, and that these other actors.
It's a true ensemble.
It's a very ensemble piece, and so it really does play with expectation. I found it to be fantastic, Jay.
Have you ever seen the Sam Peckinpah movie Cross of Iron?
Okay. You know that Peckinpah is somebody that I really want to do the dive on, but I've seen some of his films. I have not seen Cross of Iron. What is Cross of Iron about, Jay?
Cross of Iron is sort of his 49th parallel, where he makes the Nazis the main characters.
Okay. Is it like during the war?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a film that on paper I'm like Sam Peckinpah making the Nazis the protagonists. This should absolutely rip. But the truth of that movie is that it's as kind of subversive as that idea is and how good at subversion Peckinpah is, it just ends up being kind of an uninteresting war movie where Nazis happen to be the protagonist and the characters are kind of uninteresting and the plot of the story is kind of meandering. This is a film where the characters remain entirely interesting. And really what it is a series of meetings where the Nazis are proven to be philosophically inferior. It is very much a propaganda movie about why the Nazis are bad.
Mm.
And the reason that those films work in a modern context is because Nazis are bad. And World War II kind
Wait
of
a minute,
remains.
Jay, I know that that sounds like a controversial statement
I
in
know we might lose some
2026.
listeners for that in 2026,
I
unfortunately.
mean,
But
given the world that we live in, where people are
yeah,
testifying on Capitol Hill and can't admit that in a court of fucking law. But sure, yes, I will allow you to say that on a podcast here, Jay, because it's 100% true. It's the ideas of this. It's like they talk about it in the film. Like the minute everybody finds out that they're Nazis and that they're revealed it, they are the most despicable people on the planet. There's no way to defend it. And if you do, it's like, what the
no, and
hell are you doing?
that's what works so well in like Indiana Jones. It's like boom, automatic bad guys, Nazis. It will
Yes.
always be the case, and there is not a war after, and almost not before. I mean, there are definitely some kind of more ancient wars where you're like, oh, there were good guys and bad guys, but
Universally, if you think that's
World
like a
War II, there were good guys and bad guys in ways that almost no other war really had.
no,
And
they kind of
that
had the all
allows
star
you
team
to
of
kind
bad
of
guys.
embrace
Yeah.
the propaganda of it all.
Yeah.
And so when you have this heterite commune standing up to these Nazis and being like, yeah, we're from German heritage, but we're not your brothers. Like, get out of here.
Mm.
We have completely abandoned what Germany has come to represent in the year 1941. You're just like clapping by yourself in the basement. At least I was.
Yeah.
And when you have one Nazi who is sort of won over by that, and you really are, I mean, that guy, what's his name? Vogel?
Yeah.
Um, that guy, I really am like this. Maybe there are good Germans, man.
Yeah.
Maybe there are. I like this Vogel guy. He makes good bread. He wants to protect Anna.
Just wants to take her home.
It does have a real sense of character. It really cares about the people in the movie, good and bad. It has a true kind of moral compass that is so classical, and it does give you a rooting interest. And over the course of the film, you are just completely won over, which I guess is what makes it really effective propaganda. You are hooting and hollering when they're like, nope, you're not going to the neutral U.S. You're going back to Canada, the real heroes.
I had a kind of a feeling that Tarantino watched this for that kind of Inglorious
I would love to hear
Bastards,
what Tarantino thinks about.
because it's got some
I feel like
DNA.
Tarantino would be more of a cross of iron guy.
Probably so, but it does feel like it has some DNA attached to it inside of, like, especially that ending, where it's like, yeah, sure, yeah, we're gonna kick him back. Yeah, send that car. You know what? That's right. Maybe we will send him the other way. All the
What
way
are
back.
old classical movies that Tarantino loves?
He doesn't really like a lot of them, does it?
I know he likes like the exploitation movies
He's
of the
really a
70s,
'70s,
and
and yeah,
then he says the 80s are the worst decade for movies ever.
he might not be
He's
wrong.
wrong. I think he is wrong.
What's the worst decade of movies?
Oh, I don't
That
know. Probably the 1900s.
Okay.
I don't think we'd really figured it out at that point.
Yeah, you think so? God, man, you're really just going outside of the box tonight with these takes. Good Lord. No,
Honestly,
like, come on, smarty pants, like, for real.
2010s,
2010s.
2000s.
Don't even start with the 2000s. There's so many movies you love. Your favorite movie of all times in the 2010s. You can't say that.
That's true. 2020s. Worst decade for movies.
2020s? What we're doing right now?
Yeah.
If you ask Tarantino, that would be the case. Why do you think
we're doing this instead of covering new movies week to week?
We do cover.
You have to do that.
I have to.
I ain't doing that.
Well, I mean, you're more than welcome to do it with me over there.
Pass.
You know, yeah, because we never cover modern filmmakers.
I mean, I don't know. It's such a hard question because there are movies.
I feel it's about your taste. It doesn't. I mean, there are.
If I had to just say one off the top of my head, I would probably say the 30s. That was the transition period between silent and sound. They were still figuring stuff out.
Probably early 30s. Yeah, that's some rough stuff. But then late 30s, the late 30s, there's
Wizard of Oz. That they started
Smith
figuring
Goes to Washington.
It out, but it was the transition period.
Yeah, I mean, like they start. I mean,
there's always great films in every.
Always great films. There's maybe just bad. There's always great movies in decades. There's just bad years in decades, though.
The early to mid 40s were hard because everybody was in the war.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know this. Jimmy Stewart was in the war.
Oh. Don't I have the right to defend my
But then what came of that were fascinating films in the immediate shadow of World War II. Where
God, I can't wait to watch that movie so much. Oh my God, it's going to be so terrible. Yeah, it's going to be, that might be the movie.
We've got Jimmy. We've got Michael. We've got I don't know.
Is that the trash movie I should review this year? We've been trying to figure out.
Jimmy?
Here at AwardsWatch, we've been trying to figure out. Everybody's going to review a trash movie this year, like a movie that, like, you know, it's not in the person's wheelhouse, but it's probably going to be trash. But we all have the obligation, the right to do so. Like Sophia kind of did that with Wuthering Heights. Jade's, I salute you. You're going to step into the Michael Jackson discourse in April and review Michael.
I'm moonwalking my way into the theater.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Michael, that movie is going to make so much money. It is going to be.
It's going to be the most clicked on review of the year.
Yeah, because if you go anywhere and talk about like his controversial stuff, people will eviscerate you. It is weird how the world has.
The Michael stands are still.
They're allowed.
Well, he's got that, but
is he allowed? Is it allowed majority now?
Broadway show still.
Yeah, it's speak bad about the. Is he the Prince of Pop? Because he's not the King of Pop, or is he the King of Pop?
He was the King of Pop.
Oh, okay. Who was the Prince of Pop? Who had that one?
I don't know. Who invented Coca-Cola?
Mr. Coke.
Mr. Cola.
Mr. Cola.
Jonathan Cola.
Jonathan J. Cola. JJ Cola. But yeah, I think it's gonna be Jimmy for me. Because that movie just looks, well, honestly, you're
that movie is just
you're more to the right.
Amateurish. It doesn't compute as a movie.
It's got a lot of talent though in it. A lot of big names. A lot of big names, right?
It got a lot of like B tier names.
Yeah.
Rob Riggle in his great dramatic role.
Shooter McGavin, the guy who plays that guy.
Christopher McDonald.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy the Appa stock?
Who?
KJ Appa.
Is that the guy playing Jimmy Stewart?
Yeah, it's Archie from Riverdale.
Oh, well, of course, I loved his performance as Archie in Riverdale. So I've been on that stock for a long time.
It's his favorite show, folks. I don't know if you guys know. No, it is very funny to see a movie like that, which is, I mean, like a movie like Jimmy coming out, and that movie is pure right-wing revisionist propaganda. But then it's very funny to then watch.
It seems like a religious film,
like an Angel Entertainment.
Seems to be the vibe that it's going for. Is that the production company?
Is that who it is? I don't know. They're doing that Kevin James movie. You know what I mean? But then you watch like this is an era of not just from Europe, but then and also from Great Britain, but we're making our own propaganda films then at the time too. I mean, like one of the greatest films of all time, Jay, is a propaganda film in a way, and that's Casablanca. Like that
Well, I
is,
mean, what else are movies but vessels for communicating ideals?
sure, like
Whether they
Minecraft.
are
Yeah,
government mandated or not,
yeah,
that's just a consequence of putting a piece of art out there that has something on its mind.
yeah. But
It
this is
just so
interesting
happens
that
in this instance that
it's government funded.
yeah,
You
the
know,
English government said, "Hey, let's get the people hooting and hollering out there."
but
And they're
like
like,
when you look,
"Okay, but we're also going to make our main characters Nazis. Is that okay?
eh,
Bye."
but then also too, you look at Japan. Ozu was making like a movie a minute. It felt like over
Yeah,
there.
he was. None of those really are.
None of those really stuck though. Like,
No, his
no,
his big stuff started happening in the. It was
no,
sort of
I
in the
know.
30s and then late 40s.
I know, but what I'm saying is like it's happening like everywhere at the time. Everyone needs.
Kurosawa had a couple. His Senshiro Sugata movies they were kind of like the Rocky of
Mhm.
Japanese World War II propaganda.
Yeah.
They're really fascinating to go watch.
Yeah.
I've seen those. They're crazy. It is so funny because
There's
maybe it
this
is just my American brain. I am like, yeah, Japan was on a wild one. Like they were bad news in World War II.
they were keeping it's to me it's very, I mean, it's no different than like nowadays, as we have literally ongoing conflicts and a genocide going on, but there's then thought-provoking entertainment or movies that are being made. I mean, I think about after this year, like what is a protest movie? What is a movie of um what is a propaganda film? What is a movie of awareness? What are all these things in our modern context? I mean, my God,
But most
like
propaganda films now are backwards looking.
yeah,
Saving
though.
Private Ryan.
Well, I would say, yeah, no, that's very true. I
What
wouldn't
is a
say
modern day propaganda
we don't
film?
have. I don't think we have modern day propagandists. I think we just
Nobody
have
is like, oh boy, am I really enthusiastic about the war in Afghanistan.
no.
What we get now is the Hurt Locker. And honestly, it started with Vietnam, although those were still backwards looking for the most point too. But Apocalypse Now, Platoon.
But they're more commentaries than they are propaganda.
Right. Those are
Like
not government. They are the exact opposite.
yeah,
Those
no,
are those are movies that the government watches and they're like, they're onto something.
they're on
Damn
the
it.
ship. Damn it, we
They
should have
nailed
locked
us.
them in. Well, no, I mean, like I think the only thing close to sort of a movie having a genuine dialogue about a country's moral decision and its history and its place and everything. Like I think this year, and it's not propaganda at all, but it's a conversation. Was Panahi's film. That's such an interesting film to me, Jay,
But
in the
again, that's
modern
the
concept.
exact opposite.
No, it is the exact opposite, but it's a movie that the country took it as overt, like criticism and
It
they
is.
want
It's
to
the
call
exact. Yeah. I
like
mean,
they
I don't
and
know.
they
American Sniper.
yeah, that's well, anything Clint does is propaganda. I mean, it's literally the Republican Party funded
American
by
Sniper's got like a little something to it.
really.
I don't know. I do remember that. I saw that in Alabama,
Oh, I bet that was
and
like rip roaring there.
it wasn't rip roaring, but it was like
Where has my country
it
gone?
was the most quiet I've ever seen a packed theater walk out of.
Like they liked it or they were moved.
They loved it.
God damn. That movie
American
made
Sniper's got
that movie
American
made a
Sniper is
shit ton of money.
sort of interesting. American Sniper was an incredible hit.
Yeah, because nothing the right loves more than deranged lunatics with guns.
Yeah, I guess I don't
You
know.
know,
That's a movie that we should probably reckon with a little bit more.
it's a massive propaganda piece though, because Chris
And that
Kyle
one
is,
is more contemporary.
and and that man is far
And
more
it was also
complex and
full of
problematic than
falsehoods.
that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
movie is a fucking fanfic movie
Yeah.
at this point.
Do you know what country had the second most casualties in World War II?
England?
No.
No. What was number one?
Russia, of course.
Okay. Um, I don't know. J- Japan?
No.
Well, that doesn't count?
What do you mean? Japan counts, but they're not number two.
Really?
No.
I dropped two atomic bombs over there. I don't know. Germany?
No.
Where?
China.
Oh, well, I should have just said that. That's like,
Japan was wilding out.
yeah, they were they were just, yeah, they were unstoppable in that region.
They were being ugly.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're the expert on World War II around here.
Look, I say it every time. We don't talk about it enough. Finally, with Powell and Pressburger, we're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. So then you can finally shut up that it's saying that it's not important enough. We don't talk about it enough on the. That's why you really did this series.
Yep.
Now we're just figuring it all out. Now that the cards are out on the table, oh, I understand where you're going from here. Okay.
What's your favorite World War II battle? Got one?
Well, that's a really difficult question there, Jay. I love them all. I love all the battles.
I am a father, so I do have a favorite World War II battle.
I don't know. What is it?
I gotta remember the name of it.
D-Day? D for Dad? I don't know.
It was in the Pacific. What was it called?
You would have
an air naval battle.
You would know. Yeah, you would have a favorite World War II battle. You freaking nut.
Yeah.
So you claimed World War II as your war. Like this is your dad war.
What do you mean? It has to be.
It has to be. There's no other one.
You can't be a Vietnam enthusiast.
Well, like wasn't it like when like our parents were growing up, there was Civil War reenactments and stuff. Like people were really into the Civil War.
Well,
like,
yeah, that still exists for sure.
Why? Well, didn't
I don't know, man.
Wait, didn't what's her face in House of Dynamite take her son to one of the Civil War reenactments and Greta Lee, her character?
Yeah, definitely.
God, that movie sucks. I just I was thinking about it the other day, because we're getting towards the end of the Oscar season, and it's that time of the year where you're like, hey, where were like the movies we were talking about early on?
I'm so mad I can't figure out what this battle was called.
You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out as I keep vamping. But like, man, House of Dynamite, just an absolutely stupid movie that I spent 2 hours watching the same plot 3 times in a row, and then people were trying to tell me it was something important. Truly one of the big clunkers. We had a lot of big clunkers this year, from this past year. Just putting it out there. Felt like that was Netflix propaganda trying to get us to see that movie and see that it was good. Did you find your war or your battle?
It might have been the Battle of Leyte Gulf.
Okay.
That was the largest naval battle of World War II.
Okay. We can just put that on so we can move the show along.
Yeah,
we say that it's and say that that's that.
We can move it along. What's your favorite section of 49th Parallel?
I think it's the section where they're the first section was okay. I have to tell you this. Watching this movie and not knowing what this was, and then like that first section, I thought it was going to be a chamber piece.
When it feels like the Hateful Eight?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a chamber piece. I didn't I thought we were going to be there the whole time. So then when we leave that place and this massive act of violence happens,
it's kind of just 3 chamber pieces
stitched
together.
3 and 4 chamber pieces, because then I still think the ending is kind of like a coda chamber piece. I think with like the village, right? With the
Hutterite village.
Yeah.
The Hutterite farm.
I think that's
my favorite part.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Because it's, you see these people that they've survived, they're thriving, they're moving on, they've created a sense of peace, and these and they don't see it's
the fact that they're of German descent. It's powerful.
It's powerful, and yet, what's Warbrick's character's name here? J. Peter sees right through them. Mm-hmm. Like he knows exactly who they are.
The presence he has in this movie is crazy.
I'm going to just tell you this. We're going to be talking about one of the great actors of all time. I think he's one of the great actors of all time, Jay. when you watch these movies, he has a presence and a way. I don't know how he wasn't a bigger deal. I don't know how he didn't make more films and work with other people outside of them.
I know two guys who liked him.
Who?
Powell and Pressburger.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was just saying. It's like
I know.
outside of these guys, I don't understand how he wasn't the biggest actor in the world when people saw these movies because there's just something about he's in like what 3 scenes in this movie. His monologue there in the cafeteria after
Great.
is incredible. Just dressing down, and that's probably maybe the most overt political statement made in the film.
It's the real propaganda monologue.
It's the real like, hey, you guys fucking suck.
You guys are bad.
Yeah, bad men, bad. And yet it is incredibly delivered and well written.
It's as powerful as, the great dictator.
Yeah. It's just good. Everybody looking at him looking at the camera and just going. And it doesn't cut. And it's this great single shot.
Without having to be super showy. It becomes a total showcase.
But it also is very much, even though it is built within the propaganda of it all by the filmmakers, it feels 100% true to the character. It feels 100% to the fact that
and it feels 100% true because Nazis are bad. That's what this movie
they are
has
bad,
going
but
for
they're
as much as anything.
But he's given them a chance to shake this hatred and this evil wickedness out of them and be a part of this community and change. And they're still so beholden to, these, for lack of a better word, just this faith and loyalty to the Nazi party. And they do this. That scene is just incredible of them fully being like, we are going to honor da 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 da, and like they're like, who are you talking about? And like the Führer and the dead.
The Nazis
fucking
are like,
silence in that room.
Got them right where we want them.
Exactly. We've got everybody here. We've trusted them. We've become a part of this community. Let's give them let's give them big old recruitment, and it falls on deaf ears, and it truly.
It falls on vitriolic ears, not just deaf ears. They're like,
they're angry, but there's silence until Peter speaks, and he speaks for all of them there. And from that moment, they realize they got to get the hell out of there, because Nazis are bad, and then they can't stay in one place. And
it's powerful of us to be saying that on the podcast.
But which is it? Vogel is the one that you mentioned earlier. That
Vogel, the good German, yeah,
the
guy who makes the bread.
Yeah, which by the way, bread looked good.
I like when they're like, this bread stinks, man.
And he's like,
I used to make bread.
Bread's good. Yeah. And Peter basically is like, I know that you're the only one here that has compassion essentially in your heart.
Oh, when somebody says that they'll walk Anna back to her room, and he's like, no, just let her go. No, sir.
Yeah. And, but then they sacrifice, they kill him, right?
They murder him for treason, basically. Yeah.
And
desertion.
Every time you think that there's a lesson to be learned, it's that the number one lesson comes back around, which is Nazis are bad.
Nazis are bad.
They're bad. And there's no way around it. And yet, I do love the final sort of sequence where it's just where who's the head Nazi in this there's
Hirth. Hirth is the last one alive.
But he's the leader of them. He's and he's truly one of the more despicable characters that you could watch in a film here. And just how the system and rules and bending of that, and realizing that like we can't have them win, we can't have them get away, and sending them back and and it being a long ride
And
backwards.
how do they win? Bureaucratic red tape, baby.
Bureaucratic red tape. And what do we want after we've given you that red tape? Want my pants back.
I want my hat and my pants
I
back.
want my hat, my pants, and meet me at the Primrose Path. No, I'm just kidding. But I think it's so good. Like this movie moves. It has its sections, but it really moves well. I do love. Um, I, I, I just love also like the little girl in the film too of Anna, like Glynis Jones, who's really good in this movie, and she's you see the duality of when you see someone and you meet them and you don't know who they really are and you open their heart to them, but then also like when you find out who they are, yeah, they're Nazis. Has that changed everything? You bet it has, because the violence, the indoctrination, the doctrine of who these men are has caused pain and sorrow to people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done so effectively in that scene. And they are like literally one step away from murdering her until Vogel steps in. I don't know. I'm not one for propaganda, but if you're
It
gonna
is a
make
movie that is.
make one, make it this effective, Jake. Because
It
good
is
lord,
propaganda, but it's also a movie about how ugly it is that this has to take place in the first place.
yeah,
It's like, obviously these people are standing up to the evil people, but they're standing up to them in such a way that it becomes so obvious that this shouldn't have to be happening in the first place.
yeah,
And it can do that because Nazis are inherently bad. That is what makes these movies work all these years later. And whereas other films, even I would argue the greatest anti-war movie ever made. This is controversial.
What's the greatest anti-war film ever made, Jay?
I think it's Paths of Glory,
Ooh, that's a good. Ooh,
the
okay,
Kubrick movie.
all right. Um,
That's what they had to become after World War II. That is a movie looking backwards at
mm,
World War One, which was honestly maybe the stupidest war ever since the 20th century. That was a very petty
all
war.
wars, to be fair, Jay, are stupid. They
That was
shouldn't
the
exist.
pettiest war.
There you
Let's
go.
say that.
Um, if we didn't have that one, you wouldn't get to this one that you like talk about so much.
Well, yeah, obviously there were deals negotiated after World War One that
Yeah.
resulted in the rise of the Nazi Party, which now shape the geopolitics of the world in 2026 because we don't talk about World War II enough. But
Yeah.
um, I don't know. The history of war films are very interesting because during World War II, there are plenty of very good, explicitly propagandic films because it was a much more black and white conflict.
Yeah. Trying
Whereas
to think of
afterwards, you couldn't really make these anymore.
trying to think of the my you say Paths of Glory.
You're talking about best anti-war movies.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I mean, Apocalypse Now is definitely an anti-war movie. It isn't as explicitly
You mentioned The Great Dictator earlier.
Great
That's one.
Dictator.
Hmm. Thin Red Line count?
Yeah, for sure.
That's up there.
In a different way. I mean, that's one of my 10 favorite movies ever made, so I probably should say that that's the answer. But
um, this is
that's an anti-war movie in a very different way.
Bridge on the River Kwai is on this list. Full Metal Jacket's on this list.
Yeah.
Deer Hunter. Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah, Grave of the Firefly. That is certainly an anti-war movie.
That might be my answer.
It's a great movie.
That is an incredible movie. Strange Love. Um, All Quiet on the Western Front. Pick a version, probably the 1930 version. Um, yeah. There's a
And see,
ton.
like Schindler's List is obviously an anti-war movie,
Come
but
and
it's
See.
so entertaining that it feels a little different.
Never would call.
Wasn't there an interview with Michael Haneke where he's like Schindler's List is an evil film? Because the thing about Schindler's List is that Steven Spielberg cannot help but make a narratively propulsive movie that works on a pure just
do you think
sitting in the theater and watching it level, but it is also very powerful, I think.
Would you think that he might say the same thing about like Oppenheimer
A
on that same million
percent.
times, right? It's like that movie is yeah, it's very anti
That movie is, I mean, that movie
I wouldn't say it's anti
is very complicated. I mean, I could see somebody being like,
if you
this
want
is
to
a movie
call,
that romanticizes the invention of the most evil thing that exists on Earth.
yeah, and then doesn't give it as nearly as much time to reckon with it, even though it
Yeah.
totally does. Um, yeah. No, I remember Hanukkah saying that, and it's still one of the, because I remember them going, because John Krasinski was on the panel, and then like Judd Apatow looks at him and said, "What do you think about that, John?" And John's like, Krasinski's like,
Is it what I can't
it's
remember
like
the
a
exact
Hollywood
question,
Reporter
but
roundtable.
it was like,
yeah, it was no.
Is there a way to make an ethical war movie?
He
And
said
they're
no.
like, John, why don't you take that one?
Yeah. Well, the answer is no. Like that's
I
why
don't know that the answer is no. I mean, it's very
no.
complicated.
That's what he was saying. Is that he was saying?
Oh
like,
yeah,
the
yeah,
answer
yeah.
is
Haneke's
no.
like, I would never make a movie about World War II.
You never should make a movie about the Holocaust. He said he would
Right.
never do it. Like,
yeah.
I think he would be much more. I mean, like that's also brings into the question, like, what do you think about a movie like The Zone of Interest? Where like that movie
I
is,
would be very interested to see what he would say about The Zone of Interest.
because that movie's not entertaining, but aesthetically and artistically, it's so
A movie
interesting.
that I have decided I'm wrong about. It's a
I
great
think
movie.
it's a great movie. You've
It's
been
a great
wrong
movie.
about
I
this.
think
from
about
the
it
year
very
came out.
regularly after I was kind of dismissive of it.
I think you need to watch it again. Not that I'm
I
like
do.
advocating for you to watch that. It's a hard movie to get through.
Yeah, Ryan, come on down. Let's watch it together. Come on.
You know what? Put it in the basement.
Let's sit down on the old couch. Watch
only
Zone
if
of
you
Interest
get
together.
your son to watch it with me.
Pop a few beers. Watch Zone of Interest
Few small beers
with the fellas. Yeah.
just boardroom sitting about one of the worst things to happen in human history. Truly one of the great films of the decade. So therefore, you can't say the 2020s are bad because that movie exists inside of it. But
I'm not saying they're bad. No, honestly, no decade of movies is bad because there's always phenomenal movies.
Yeah, and there's also just phenomenal. There's phenomenal movies around the world.
But it's like the Hays Code kind of put a cork in some kind of more subversive stuff. But when you watch a movie where people kind of manipulate the Hays Code and still make it really dark, you're like, oh,
You mean like a
that's
Howard
pretty
Hawks?
Cool. Yeah.
Like a Hawks or even like a Billy Wilder.
Yeah.
Whether we're notorious for just straddling
That
the
stuff is really cool.
Yeah, Sturgis a little
Howard
bit
Hawks
too.
is awesome. This movie kind of reminds me of
What, Only Angels Have Wings?
yeah.
Yeah, which is a phenomenal film.
That's
also
a
in the Criterion.
masterpiece.
I think about that film all the time. I think about the ending all the time. I
Cary
do.
Grant, just one of the greats.
One of the greats. Yeah, truly just
This movie, if there's one thing that it does lack, is a true center. I would say,
I do feel like to your point, this movie is Ain't Nazis bad.
it's an anthology movie.
It really isn't, but it's, well, I wouldn't say it's just it's episodic from
a better term. Yes.
Because it's a vignette film in a lot of ways, and it's in doing so, it is repetitive,
It's operating
but it's purpose.
broadly.
Yes, but there's also,
But it definitely still defines its characters very well.
it does, because they can't help themselves but making a compelling film.
Right.
And they can't help themselves but writing this impeccable dialogue. They can't help themselves but being super meticulous with every dollar that they have. And they also can't help themselves at making images in moments that are where the audience has to reckon with them. I'm telling you, Jade, like when they come out and shoot those people in the crowd, there in Canada, it was shocking to me.
When they're trying to get to the plane.
Yeah, and they're no, when they're coming out and they shoot those people, like they kill a kid, a mother and a child,
right,
and everything, and you're just kind of like, you're like, even for a propaganda movie at the time, like that's a hard thing to show.
The scene that I thought was
even when they kill Olivier too, as well.
The kind of thrilling sequence that was kind of Hitchcockian in my mind, and
Ooh.
I think I was looking at my Letterboxd review of The Spy in Black. One of the things I wrote in that was that it is better than every 30s Hitchcock thriller, which I thought was a pretty bold thing of me to say, but I stand by it, I guess. I love the scene where the Mountie is reading off the descriptions of the remaining Nazis, and they all very clearly have trademarks of the things that he is reading off in front of this giant crowd. I think there's a lot of tension there, and there's also this fascinating dynamic where you are kind of like, if this happened in real life, would people want to be the ones that called out? There's the idea of politeness, I think, is one of the most interesting things that exist, and I think a film that explores that more than as well as anything is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, but David Fincher's version. But it exists here as well, where you're like, even if they think there's a 75% chance that this might be the person, is the 25% of doubt that they'll be kind of embarrassed by calling somebody out who wasn't the Nazi enough to prevent them from calling them out in public? And I think the answer most of the time is probably yes.
Well, that's the thing about the film that I also found very interesting, is just like through that scene, through when they're with the sort of the other Germans, even when they're with Leslie Howard and sort of and on in that vignette as well, is that they could easily blend in with the way they speak, the way that they carry themselves. My wife was trying to say to me, she's like, would they really have had accents like that? Would they have really been able to? And I said, like, yeah, sure.
No, they would not have.
I don't know. Like, and I also
they would not have. It's absolutely ridiculous the way that they talk. But
also, it's just like it's a movie. Like, it's a movie. Leave me alone.
For the first 70 years of film, English accent meant foreign, European.
Well, no, they do kind of have like German accents.
No, they don't.
I mean, they kind of do.
No,
they do switch back and forth. No, they kind of switch back and forth.
You think they code switch?
I do think they code switch.
There is an argument for, the reason we sent them over is because they can fake. But even then, that's like, why are they faking English?
English accents is the real question.
It's
me not knowing what the film was about.
It's silly accepted shorthand for
exactly. I think the reason why they're doing English is because of the Canadians in the U.S. It's like an ally in that way, rather than them being. They can.
Meanwhile, the one guy is like, "I'm not changing out of my uniform.
Yeah,
idiot.
I'm an idiot."
Like, that's the first smart thing you've said all trip.
Exactly.
We should get out of our Nazi uniforms in Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
You genius.
But to me, it brought up, like, as I was watching the film, it was just like, they could easily get there. Like but it's because this doctrine, and this is, I think, the point of what Powell and Pressburger are making here, the ideal system that Hitler and the Nazis had instilled upon these men is so ingrained in them, they believe in it so much, they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves.
The reason that they give them English accents is so that it can become about the ideas rather than the accent.
I think that they can disguise that there's a little bit of disguise amongst themselves, but they can't help but slip out of it.
It's just a way for them to sneak by so that other people can be like, so that it becomes more about what they represent rather than the way that they sound.
For very much so.
It's the ultimate propaganda.
It
That's
really
what it
is. But then also the facade does wear off, Jay. It does fall away every time, and I do think that there is a little bit of just like
Well, I mean, it
of
is
not
funny
of
when
them not being able to accept that they have to be English the
I
rest of
know.
their life, or they can't be a U.S. person, or they can't be Canadians, that they are Nazis, and because they're bad, and they can't
Right,
help
but it
shake
is
who they are. It's very on the nose, but it's also very fascinating in the way they execute it.
it's also funny when
It's almost like a
they're
Looney
like,
Tune by the end.
you of course are German and I am German, but we are no longer brothers. And I talk like this because I'm from Germany, of course.
Yes, okay. Orville definitely does not sounds good here or whatever. Um, but um, but I do think the men from the submarine do sound German when they're
They do
supposed to
not.
be themselves, and then when they
They
sound
do not.
English when they do. Yes, they do. Rewatch the film, you fool.
They do
Come
not.
on. Yes, they do. I
They
think
are
there
putting
is that.
on half an affectation.
It's more than I think that's what the characters also are supposed to be doing as well.
They're not doing a Hans Landa.
No,
Let's put it that way.
no, they're not going from English to German to
It's
Italian to
it's
French.
filmmaking of the time. It's
Yeah.
in context. It's
But if
how
you're
these
talking
things were
about what the
done.
character and what they're trying to convey is that I do think that they are trying to
I think you're
convey.
giving them half an
I think
ounce
I'm
more
giving
credit
them
than
what
they
they
deserve.
what they're trying to say in the film, which is that these guys can't help themselves because they have the tools to be able to be hiding amongst us, but they're so German and they're so Nazi and so bad, it falls apart. And like the scene where they're in the like taking the shower there together towards the end by the campfire. It's such a Looney Tunes thing of like you guys can literally just
That character is hilarious.
go your way.
Philip Armstrong Scott, the writer.
But like they could literally just pass themselves at all points to get to America, to get back to Germany, and they literally can't do it because
They're
it's a little
inherently bad
they're inherently bad. And that's
because
the
their
point.
ideals do not
Line with the people that
compute.
they're going
Yeah.
up against. That's the ultimate
It is
propaganda about this.
three or four interactions where they are proven to be inferior.
Yeah.
And that's propaganda, man.
That's propaganda, man. That's why it's like it's it's not hard to pick this movie apart,
But
but
also you watch it and you're
it's kind
like,
of fascinating to like make
but
though.
you watch it and you're like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're right.
I mean, they're right.
They're on
And
something.
I'm super entertained by this film. Like that's
Yeah.
like it's so well written and it's such
You are rooting for everyone against them the entire time. It does have
and yet you can't
the
wait to
sort
see
of
where these idiots land at the next spot.
the
You know?
background of the movie was that Pressburger was kind of writing a treatment basically for 10 Little Indians, the Agatha Christie
Mm.
novel. And so it sort of becomes Six Little Nazis. And you feel that tension. It's true narrative tension that flows throughout the course of the film.
But every place they go to,
you're checking off Nazis over the course of the film,
exactly.
which is a good way to structure a story.
Yeah, and then by the end you're left with one, you know.
And then there was one, and
then
he
there
gets
was
stuck in Canada,
exactly. And he's stuck there and that's his penance. His
and he
penance.
becomes one of the Trailer Park Boys.
He becomes a railroadsman, you know. No, I think it's a great film. Anything else you want to mention about it before we start giving it the old wrap up here, old chum?
I don't know. I mean the practical. It is just awesome seeing these older films where it's like, well, they couldn't do anything except actually fly an airplane in a lake. That stuff just adds so much
The boat stuff
integrity
rules.
to the picture.
The submarine stuff or the boat
The
stuff.
submarine, they had like an actual submarine, or at least part of a submarine. The practicality of it gives it so much integrity. I think this is a really great film. And it's fun seeing Laurence Olivier just absolutely hamming it up. Our classiest actor sort of doing his, I don't know, what's the equivalent? I don't know. Rachel McAdams in Send Help, just really going for it. It's a great film, a really genuinely great, worthwhile film on its own merits beyond being a piece of military propaganda in the 1940s.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great way to start off the series. I think it's a fascinating film. But it's really good. And it's honestly like a great first entry point if you've never seen their films, because their movies from here on out, they become bigger in scope and scale and what they're saying
And the
after this film.
less government mandated.
Exactly. It's a little, again, not to mirror them with him, but it does feel like a little like Ozu, where like by the end, like after the war's over, they find their footing and they become the people that we're talking about
Well,
for a really long time.
they had done military documentaries. I mean, they were
Yeah.
all in on they were government assets.
Yeah. Which is it's crazy. It really is. I mean, like every kind of government had it. I mean, we had it with the news. I mean, like of our you go to the movies and you see the picture shows and they be having like what's going on overseas and curated. Everything was curated, and then yeah, studios would make films to try to either bring in the point of what's going on in the country, and
I
there's
mean, there
great
was
American
propaganda all
propaganda.
over the place. A lot
Yeah,
of it was very regrettable.
a lot of it was very regrettable. Some of it though, fantastic. And this
Yeah.
is some of the best from Britain. That's for sure. Jay,
Hmm.
how you doing?
I'm
Doing
good. I'm so excited to talk about Powell and Pressburger.
this is gonna be a fun series.
Hmm.
I'm glad we talked about this film. But Jay, before we get out of here, we're gonna test your award season knowledge based on the film we just reviewed, Fortnite Parallel. And a segment we like to call It's an Honor to be nominated.
Hmm.
So Jay, 49 Parallel, also known as The Invaders, by the way.
That's what it was called in America, correct?
Yeah, bad
Because it
title.
was meant to, be like, look, enter the war, bros.
Yeah, but also 49 Parallel, better title. In my
Cool
opinion.
title.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that title more. Jay, was this movie nominated for any Academy Awards?
So we have covered these filmmakers before. I do know that this got a Best Picture nomination.
That is correct.
Um, hmm. I'm going to assume that that means it got a screenplay nomination.
That is correct.
I'm going to guess that it got no acting nominations.
That is correct. You're in a
Are
roll.
those the only two nominations it got?
Nope.
Okay, so we got some below the line stuff.
Hmm?
Editing,
No.
sound,
No.
score.
No.
I don't know. What else did it get nominated for?
Jay, I'm going to really throw you in here for a loop. It was nominated for Best Writing Screenplay, but it won Best Writing Original Story. They split the story in the screenplays into different categories back in the 40s. So it won for the best original story, but it did not win for the best original screenplay.
So it won for best elevator pitch, but
basically,
not for
basically
best
like
screenplay.
you and I could be like, hey, what if the Nazis came over here and had a real tough time? You know,
So The Matrix would have won for, all right, so there's this guy.
rabbits,
He's in an alternate computer dimension.
and he goes like this, and he
And then
just
it's
moves
like,
backwards.
all that dialogue, I'm not sure about that. That
Yeah,
is hilarious.
and that's the truth.
I can't believe I didn't get that one.
Yeah, buddy. Emeric Pressburger.
Wow.
Oscar winner.
There you go.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That category is not cool, actually. That is a very uncool category.
I think it's a very dumb category. I will say that.
This movie
As-
came out after the Blitz and was about Nazi. That's so cool.
it's very cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Um,
awesome.
but yes, that's it's Oscar stuff. This was the year when this film was awarded at the Oscars. Let me try to pull it up. It was the 15th Academy Awards. It was
Hmm.
actually because it was released here in America. They celebrated in 42, or they celebrated for the films of
For
42 in
yeah,
40
in 43.
in
Yeah.
43. That's when Mrs. Miniver, William Wyler's film, won.
Haven't seen it.
James Cagney won for Yankee Doodle Dandy. Greg
Of course,
Garson won for
Yankee
Miss.
Doodle Dandy. We all talk about it every
Greg Garson
day.
won for Miss Miniver. Mrs. Miniver, bad film. But yeah, they were nominated. Also, they were also nominated this year for another film, Jay.
42. What else would they have done in 42?
They did One of Our Airplanes is Missing.
One of our aircraft is missing. Yeah, yeah,
One of our
yeah.
aircraft
Not
is missing.
nearly as good.
But
Yeah.
they were also nominated for original screenplay for that as well.
Okay.
So, see, they're all over the map here. Isn't that cool?
Two plane movies.
Two plane movies. Pretty cool. You know what was in at the time? Planes.
War.
Your son would have loved that time. Plane movies everywhere.
Loves plane. He walked in on me watching 49th Parallel when the plane scene on the lake. And he was like, excuse me, Papa. Are you watching a masterpiece? And I was like, well, I mean, kinda. Maybe
Did you?
not quite masterpiece, but great film.
Are you watching it on the telly?
Are you on the tube?
Oh, the tube is not what they call television, Jay. That's like
And
literally
the on the tube.
You're gonna get us really in trouble if you keep this up. This is an impression that you cannot have.
It appears our numbers in Britain are tanking.
King,
In it,
as you
love.
speak, literally stop doing it.
In it.
Um, Jay, that's it. That's our first episode. Can you tell for the Powell and Pressburgers? Can you tell everybody where they found can you tell everybody where they can find you and all your work on the internet, good sir, and your recommendation of the week?
Yeah. Find my writing at awardswatch.com. I'm trying to write more. Check me out on there. Twitter, J Ledbetter. I think I just took myself off private, so maybe I'll post more. Maybe I'll become a poster again. That'd be interesting. Letterbox J Ledbetter. I guess that's all the socials. Recommendation of the week. How about just like the most tepid, half-hearted recommendation we've ever had on this show?
Okay.
Had a fun time with The Housemaid.
All right. Here we go.
Enjoyed it.
Here we go. Did
Absolute.
you and the wife watch it?
Yep. Absolute junk.
Bottle of wine?
Wine. Housemaid. Seyfried is absolutely bringing it.
Mm-hmm.
Should have won an Oscar. Maybe second to Roseburn.
You think?
Sydney Sweeney.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Best actress last year for you was Rose Byrne.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Okay. Who was the actor for you? Timmy?
Mm,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah.
I'm going to get your hot take here on the show.
Okay.
Where are you at with Safdie?
It's an impossible question because I love his films and he's clearly made a lot of mistakes.
Terrible mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that hurt? Does that hurt? Does that hurt the performance for you a little bit? A little bit. Be honest. It's okay.
It does not. It frankly does not change the way I feel about that movie.
Okay.
I'm very much for
Disappointed.
better or worse, separate the art from the artist guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes to a fault. but I still find that movie thrilling and potent and
Would you
makes me cry.
but would you say Timmy's your actor of the year?
Oh, man, that's a hard one.
That's a tough question.
I'd
Sorry.
have to, I'd have to, I'd have to
Why?
think about it. But
Well,
he's right.
who else
He's
would be
right up
there?
there.
Who else would be there?
I mean, DiCaprio's right there.
Hey, I know that guy.
Yep, you know that guy. Um,
I go back and forth between I do love Jesse Buckley in that movie. I know you're not a Hamnet
in
guy.
Hamnet.
Yeah, but I've been
Oh,
thinking
you're
a lot
saying for actress?
yeah, but I think a lot I've been thinking a lot about Rose, but the one I keep thinking about honestly the most is Renata Rinsby for sentimental value.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm like,
Yeah, that's and also
why don't I love that movie?
because you do this every year where there's one movie where it's like you know you love that movie and then
No, that is one I'm not gonna turn around on that one.
you will.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot,
Well,
but
there's no you can like it a lot. That's
it's in
fine.
the top 20 of the year for me. But I'm telling you, when they were doing that monologue about the house, I was like,
You were
oh my
ready.
God, am I watching one of the greatest films ever made?
Yeah.
And then it, I think, sort of pulls its punches on its characters over the course of the movie,
That's fair. I
while
don't
still having
like
great
really great.
sequences, great dialogue, great performances, I think, across the board. But
And also he's just he I really turn around on him. He really it's very difficult for that man to make bad movies. So
worst person in the world, I'm like all
yeah.
in on.
I rewatched that before I went to New York and resaw Sentimental Value and I was that one you can say it. And I told you this. I was wrong on that film. I
You
think that
turned
there
around on
was
that one, yeah.
yeah, and then I saw Sentimental again and I sobbed. I
Also,
think it
go
does help
watch
on the
Crime
second one.
101. Good
Crime
movie.
101.
I wrote a review about it.
Yeah.
One of
But
the worst titles of all time.
I still
Good
gotta
movie.
see Housemate though. Is it on like a streaming platform or anything?
No, we rented it.
You rented it? Okay.
It'll be on
Uh,
a streaming platform one of these days.
I feel like that's a good plane movie.
Absolute junk.
Yeah.
My wife was very upset when I said that.
It's Feig, right?
Feig, yeah, who
Who's
is
making just
better
junk
now
now.
at junk than comedy.
I
Or
don't know.
honestly, probably just can't get comedy made because comedies don't get made anymore.
Yeah, but man, Spy.
I liked A Simple Favor. I had a good time with
Did
that
you like
one.
the sequel?
No. No, 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 no,
No,
no.
no. Which one do you like more, the Housemate or the Another Favor?
Simple
Simple Favor.
Favor, I think, is better.
Oh, no, Simple Favor 2 or
Oh,
Housemate.
Housemaid is better than Simple Favor too.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll have
I
to get
like
on
where are you at on what's the guy in Housemaid?
Brandon, whatever his name
He's
is.
like doing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like on what, like one of those.
Brandon Sklenar.
He just kind of seems like a nothing burger
I'm
kind
kind
of
of
guy.
in on him. I gotta be honest.
Oh, you into him?
I'm in on him as a presence. I think
Yeah.
he's good. He was in I thought he was really good in Drop.
Oh, that one with the like the date
The
thing,
phone movie.
the phone movie that came out last year. Yeah, that was a good movie. That was fine. It was a good premise.
Yeah.
It was like a
I
good
liked that movie.
B minus.
I thought he
B
was
plus.
good in It Ends With Us.
It ends with us.
Come on,
Which
you
one's
know It Ends With Us. What do you mean? The most dramatic movie of the 2020s?
which one's that one?
The Blake Lively Baldoni.
Oh, I see. I never saw it.
Mm.
I never watched it. I'm not a Colleen Hoover guy.
I thought he was good in
I was
that.
trying
Well,
to just figure out. I gotta tell you, buddy. You ready for
because
some?
the
You ready
housemaid
for
is
it?
not uh, Colleen Hoover. It's the
No,
other one.
you're another book talk lady.
Frida McFadden.
Cool.
She's kind of more thrillery.
She sounds completely made the fuck up. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's Can I give you just a hot take?
Sure.
I don't give a flying hell about the Baldoni and Blake Lively stuff. I just don't care.
It Ends With Us. 3 stars.
But also, another hot take. You ready? You
Yep.
gotta stop naming movies really shitty titles. It Ends With Us is a bad title.
But that was the name of the book, so it doesn't matter.
What is the movie coming out with Glenn Powell? How
How
to make
to
How to Make a Killing?
How to Make a Killing. Yeah, pretty
Bad.
bad.
Bad. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Bad title.
Real bad.
Crime 101. Bad title.
Crime 101 for that movie in particular is just like, come on, guys.
Wuthering Heights with quotation marks. Bad.
Wuthering Heights is fine. If it's IP, you got to stick with
I know.
title.
I'm just fucking with you on that. It was a good joke. But no, I think that we have a title problem in this world.
Well, because we've run out of titles.
It Was Just an Accident is a bad title. A Simple Accident is better. That's the original title. It's cleaner.
I don't think that really makes that much of a difference.
It does. Like 7 words. You should not have 7 words in a title. Unless it's Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of, like, that's fine.
I mean, Eddington is a terrible title.
It's a terrible title. No one's going to see that movie. What are good titles? Sinners?
One Battle After Another.
Weapons? Like the movies people saw?
Weapons is a good title.
Do you think Hamnet is a bad title?
Yeah, it's terrible, but it's based on a book. So
yeah, so then you have to do it. What would you retitle Hamnet?
Skip it.
Is Sentimental Value a good title?
Sentimental Value is a totally fine title.
Okay. No Other Choice?
I think that's a good title.
That's a good title. That's a great title. That's a good movie. I think we're going to be talking about that one a little bit more every year.
Very good film.
Very good film. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Blue Sky, Ryan McQuade 77. You can find out my work here at awardswatch.com. Mondays are the main show. iTunes, Spotify, 5-star reviews. We greatly appreciate it while we're on the website.
There's a bad title.
That's a bad title. 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify. While you're on the website, please sign up for the newsletter. It's the best place to get all news, reviews, interviews, and podcasts sent to you all in one place. God, dude, recommendation of the week. Really tough. Not a lot going on out there. Not a lot to see.
Parallel?
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously. Once the
recommend 49th. It. Come on, make it double dip.
I'm not going to double dip. You know, I'm better than that. God damn it. I'll give you a recommendation for a movie that you need to see. Okay. And because I think you're gonna love it. And I saw this movie back at South by Southwest. It's coming out into theaters. It's slowly going to start making its way. It's this great comedy from Matt Johnson. It's called Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Yep, gotta check it out.
Yeah, truly one of Dre McCarroll and Matt Johnson. They had this sort of internet series, right, Jay? And
yeah, I have no relationship to that at all.
Me either. And this movie is absolutely hysterical.
I'm kind of in on Matt Johnson.
He's making this year, right? He's got another movie coming out.
Bourdain movie.
He's got the Bourdain movie coming out with Dominic Sessa. Kind of interested in it now.
Blackberry is such an interesting movie based on something that could be so boring.
It's really compelling.
It is begging to be the hot Cheeto movie.
Oh shoot!
Flamin' Hot.
God damn!
But it ends up being
coming in with a hot take.
Super fascinating.
A flamin' hot take.
Yeah. Did you see Flamin' Hot?
I was at the world premiere at South by Southwest.
And
it was a rough sit.
Yeah,
I sat there and I went, "Wow, we really did that, huh?"
Nailed it.
Yeah,
it was cool. Flamin' Hot Cheeto movie that'll ever be made. I'll tell you that much.
Can I tell you this though? Did have a little bit of a starstruck moment. So I was sitting on one side of the aisle, and Eva Longoria showed up, right? But I don't care. And she directed the film. I don't give a crap about Eva Longoria.
Okay.
Ouch. I don't. Sorry, I don't.
Okay.
I'll side with
Chester Cheetah.
I mean,
is that who gave you chills?
No, Sean Elliott. Spurs legend.
All right, whatever.
Showed up and was there. And
Tony Parker divorced?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony.
Gotta tell you this. There was nobody more happy in the world when they divorced than Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich reportedly hated that she was around the team. Very big distraction.
She was like Bill Belichick's girl.
She was a little just
Jordan.
Poppy didn't like any of that. He didn't like all that stuff. Anyway,
he doesn't like the noise.
He didn't like the noise.
He's about the game.
Parker was young, and it was like, hey, we're trying to play basketball here. We're not doing a Desperate Housewives
you got
episode.
A Desperate Housewife over here.
Yeah, and so they divorced, and Parker actually became a way better player after that.
Popovich was like, Tony, thank God you cheated on your wife.
Yeah, he was for real. He was like, thank God you did a terrible thing. But anyway, Nirvana, the show, the band, or Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. It's a bad title, probably. Also very funny title. But anyway, really funny movie. Jay, you got to watch it.
For that movie, that is a good title because it gets your attention for a movie that it has no commercial appeal.
No, but you should see that movie. That's actually a movie you need to probably see in a theater because it's way better in a theater.
Yeah.
Recommend everyone seeing that over Wuthering Heights. Please don't. That movie's Wuthering Heights is going to make a lot of money, though.
My wife saw Wuthering Heights without me as we were recording this episode.
She go with her friends?
Ouch. She went with her girlfriends.
Okay. By the way, earlier you said you had, what was it? Work friends and movie. You went with your critic friends, and then you went with your brother. Do you delineate different sections of friends? Like, or there's your work friends, and then there's your critic friends, and then there's your real friends, Jay?
Well, if I go to a critic screening, I will hang out with my critic friends.
Well, aren't they just your friends?
Yes.
But they're critic friends. You put a label on them.
They're my friends who happen to be critics, yes.
So if I went to a screening with you, what would I be?
A critic friend. If we went to an early screening.
I am not in the same level as those ding-dongs in Atlanta. How dare you?
You're talking about guests of our show, my friend.
I know. They're good friends of ours. But still, you're going to lump me with them? How dare you?
Well, you're not like family. I went with family.
Well, I mean, what am I?
Critic friend.
Motherfucker. All right. That's going to do it for this week's episode. We will be back next week. We will be talking about the life and death of Colonel Blimp. Big film.
Deal.
No big deal. No big deal. Big film. Super excited to talk about it. We will be back next week. Until then, we will see you all next time.